okay. I thought I was very disappointed in the outcome. I thought we did a lot of good things. I thought we played some good basketball. We've improved in some areas. South Dakota State is the second highest rated team I think we've played outside of Wisconsin. That's one of those. I've been on the other end of them. It's a program win. When you got a program that's used to being successful for about the last 20 years, and they've had coaches in and out of there, they just keep winning games, and so that's a real testament to that whole entire program for how they go about their business. They made plays down the stretch we didn't make. I thought there was a lull there in the second half that really cost us. I think got us down to I think we got down 10 at one point. We were able to battle back. We got to get more. Outside of Joey, I thought our perimeter players just didn't have enough attack and aggressive in what we were trying to do. And then during that stretch where we struggled to score midway through the second half, it affected our defense. We gave up a couple rhythm threes. We had one poor double team on the post. We allowed a bullet pass crisscross to the opposite corner. A guy hit a three. We lost a man on a baseline drive, kick out three, but really a lot of those threes came from not being able to guard the ball, one-on-one situations, getting driven, had to force the help and force rotations, and then give South Dakota State, their guys stepped up and made shots and when they needed to in those situations, and it was the difference in the game.
Coach, it's kind of the second straight game where the second half kind of maybe got away from you guys. What needs to improve to maybe see better performance in the second half?
No, I think, we got better tonight. We played a much better opponent tonight. We played better tonight. We executed a lot better. We had 18 assists against 7 turnovers. That's good. We got 13 offensive rebounds against coming in tonight, the best defensive rebounding team in the country. So that effort was good. We just got to get some production out of some guys. They got to be able to step up and make shots, and we got a ton of confidence in some of those guys to do it. And I think that was just the difference in the game. Those guys. You just look down the line. I think Saylor hit a big one. Gary hit a couple big ones. Like, he hasn't shot the ball particularly well this year, and he went 3 for 4 on threes. Jackson hit a big one. He was only 2 of 7, but he hit a big one late. And then their big guys were really difficult for our guys to handle. And Preston, being a freshman, getting thrown in the fire, he's up and down. The one thing I was disappointed in is, he got scored on the first 2 possessions of the game, and he said he was tired. Like, we're 2 minutes in the game, man. You're not tired. Compete. Fight, stand in there and figure it out. And he's going to grow in those areas. Like I said, I think he's got a chance to be a really good player, but that's just a mentality kind of that we're dealing with, trying to fight, not just with Preston, but just throughout our whole team. Is when things get difficult, man. You gotta bow up, and we gotta fight and compete. And we've grown exponentially in that area, but we still have some ways to go.
Yeah, you mentioned the high assists, low turnover numbers tonight. I think there's only been one game this season where you guys even had 18 assists. So, where have you just kind of seen the team chemistry kind of grow to where they're sharing the ball more and not making as many mistakes?
Well, we've changed what we're doing offensively. I don't love it, but it eliminates some decisions. I didn't think the way we were playing early was a little bit more read and react and making decisions, and I didn't think we were doing a very good job with that. There's just a lot of options, and some guys just aren't ready for that. And that was on me for putting them in those situations early. We've kind of changed a little bit of what we're doing. There's a little bit more on tracks. There's only, there's an A and a B. It's not ideal, but I think it's helped this team, and then we'll continue to build off of that.
You talk about production. Joey tonight in his return, career high. Caden also career high. What did you like from those 2 guys tonight?
Well, I think I thought Joey was really good. We came to him several times out of timeouts, and he delivered. He's got to get in better condition. Like he's practiced 4 times in the last month. and that's what it looked like. He's got to continue to improve defensively. He's got to continue to work on keeping the ball in front. As he gets in scouting reports, guys are going to attack him. He's got to be able to own up to that and really compete and fight on that end of the floor. Because obviously he's gifted on offense, and still working him in. He's got to get in better condition. Like he was huffing and puffing out there, but I got a lot of confidence in him that he's going to continue to grow. I think Caden's last 2 games has been his most productive games. He's battling 2 injuries, and so as he's working himself through those, I thought 2 of his better games were the last 2, and so pleased with that. There's just a couple other guys. We just got to get more out of a larger collective group of guys.
Yeah, defense really seemed to lock in for those last couple of minutes as you guys kind of fought back from that double-digit deficit. But what do you think kind of prevented the offense from getting over the hump and reclaiming that lead there in that last couple of minutes?
Well, you get down 10 to that team, it's difficult. We got the stop at the end that we wanted. We just couldn't get the rebound, and that's kind of been us. It's kind of been us. Just do some good things, just short a possession or 2 or short a play or 2. But I thought we did a lot of good things, just not enough against a quality team like that.
You mentioned fight earlier with Preston, but you said there's other guys too you got to coach it with. How do you coach fight within your team?
You just got to keep, I think I talked to you guys about this before. We let things hang around us too much. Obviously, everybody in the athletic world is listening to Curt Cignetti right now, and he's got that quote about every play has a life of its own, in 6-second play, right? Well, to a certain extent, every play in basketball has its own life, right? And so, ours are just like, you don't get a 40-second break in between them, to reset. It's on, it's on to the next. And so, when that play is over, like, you got to flush it, man. Like, you got to move to the next thing. Whether you turn it over, you got to get back. Now we got to get a stop. You got to fight. You got to compete. You can't just pout and get just worry about what's going on for you. You got to stand up and compete for your team. If you have a defensive breakdown, you got to come down and maybe you got to set a great screen. You got to have great execution offensively. You got to make the right pass. You got to make the right read. Like, you can't be worrying about what you just gave up on the other end. And then it just continues. So each play, like he says, kind of has a life of its own. And when that life is over, man, it's over. Like, you can't go back and fix it and change it. And so that's kind of what I mean about some of the fight and getting to the next. And we've trust me, guys, we have grown exponentially when it comes to that. But we're not to the point yet where we're over the hump with some of that stuff, because our margin is razor thin.
Is there someone on this team that has that quality? It's kind of maybe led by that example?
Not yet. You should have been in the booster meeting before the game. We got the same question from somebody there. We've had a couple guys that I think have tried to do that. It's difficult because you got to do it every day. So you got to hold yourself accountable, and it's difficult, especially for these young guys to show up every day and do the job. It's a valuable lesson for them to learn. They're going to be better off in life if they can figure it out and learn it, because not a lot of people can do it. That's why a lot of people can't do what these guys do. And too many people in today's world are running from that stuff, And so, to answer your question, no, we don't have somebody that's really stepped up and taken a hold from a leadership standpoint. We've had a few people that have tried, right? And they could eventually get there. I think we have some guys that have the characteristics to do that. But to do that, you've got to be an everyday guy. And we're just not quite there yet.
What's maybe just the biggest area of improvement you want to continue to see this team build upon with the conference play right around the corner?
Well, look, we got to continue to try to put these guys in situations to be successful. And we've got, we'll go back and watch it again. I thought there was 4 or 5 possessions that weren't very good, that were bad shots. Other than that, I was pretty pleased with what we were getting. You can't shoot 26% the second half. You can't shoot 19% from the 3-point line. I thought we did a decent job of getting to the free throw line. I thought we were more aggressive at getting to the rim in some situations. Like I said, the way we rebounded against that team, offensively, I was very pleased. Obviously, we had a breakdown at the last possession, couldn't get a rebound that cost us an opportunity to tie or win the game. But and we didn't. We only turned it over 7 times, and we got 18 assists on 22 field goals. That is by far our best percentage on the year. So we're getting better, but it's another tough pill to swallow, here tonight.
Joey, I'll go to you. Obviously, you've been out for quite a while since your return to Muncie. Kind of what was that like going into this game?
I was a little bit nervous for sure, but once I got out there, it was just basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, both of you guys have been kind of dealing with injuries this year, and both you guys just put up career high scoring tonight. Obviously, not the results you guys were looking for on the scoreboard, but what's it like to get out here in front of the home crowd and have these good scoring nights that you guys just had?
I mean, it's not so much as good scoring nights. I think we played probably, it's not the outcome that we wanted, but, every game people can't tell us that, we're not making steps, we're not making progress towards, the ultimate goal. And, whether that's a win or whether that's just comfortable with, playing how we play and, putting the pieces together. It's just overall, me and Joe, we scored, career highs, but that doesn't change the fact that, we got to come in next day, watch film and, get better.
Yeah, to you guys, we haven't talked to you since the road trip, obviously. With those 4 games, how do you feel the chemistry of this team has kind of developed so far?
Well, I mean, I'm kind of a bit new to it, but I mean, I had to kind of just fit in with these guys. I hadn't played with these guys, and so I've had maybe 4 practices, and it's kind of just growing from there. Tonight, I felt like we had decent chemistry, just made some small errors. I mean, part of it is I haven't played with these guys a whole lot yet.
In the Joe's credit, man, he's been dealing with injuries, but he's been around every day talking, giving energy. So I would say, it's a rough patch. It's a rough patch, but the chemistry has never dipped. They're still my guys at the end of the day, and I'm 100% positive that that's how everyone else feels.
And you talk about the guys, the steps that you guys have made. Obviously, 7 losses in the last 8 games, not the record that you guys are wanting it to look like. But where do you feel has been kind of the biggest area of improvement as far as those steps go in that stretch?
I would just say the margin of error is just small. You know what I'm saying? We got to play perfect, and unfortunately, perfect is a hard goal. So we're just figuring out what that perfect is for us. I know you said 7 out of the 8, like it sucks. No one wants to be in it, but there's only one way through it. You got to figure it out. So just every day. I mean, every day is a new learning experience. Every day is a new process.
To you guys, what is the biggest area of improvement you think can maybe get a better outcome in this game and even just in the last 8 games in general?
I feel like down the stretch sometimes we just make dumb mistakes, to be honest. Maybe just lose focus. I'm not real sure, but we just got to clean those up.
Yeah, just not let up. That pretty much covers every area you want to talk about. Just don't let up, especially in going to halftime with momentum. You got to come back from halftime and keep the foot on the neck. That's probably the biggest area of improvement as a team is just to keep pressing, keep pushing. That's my point of emphasis.